हरे कृष्ण। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Hare Krishna. So we are saying that Prithu Maharaj is going back home, back to Godhead. And Bhagavatam, it starts with many personalities going back home, back to Godhead or living body. We start with Bhishma Dev, then we see Dhritarashtra. He is also living and how he left his body. Bhishma Deva's very glorious death. Then Pandavas, they are living Mahaprasthan. And then we see Dhruva Maharaj, he is challenging the death and he is going. So we see that this is the this is a very important theme of Bhagavatam. It is sending everybody how they are living the world. That is very nicely described. So here we see that now Prithu Maharaj is also given. So this is a very important understanding we should have, that how great personality they are living this world, and it is a lesson for us. And ultimately, it is actually Parikshit Maharaj. He want to know what he should do. He also want to leave his body because he has only 7 days. He wanted to know how he should do it. And here also we see that Prithu Maharaj living his body, and it's a very nice instructions that are given here, how he made his advancement. So he was completely engaged in executing devotional service, the rules of uh, this, how he followed properly all the systems, and then he was able to achieve that success. So it didn't happen by chance. He has worked very hard. Then only he achieved it. So here we see that Pitu Maharaj is thus engaged completely in devotional service, executing the rules and regulations strictly according to the principles 24 hours a day. Thus, his love and devotion unto the Supreme Lord Krishna developed and become unflinching and fixed. So we discussed that bhakti sadhana is not the cause of bhakti, but mercy of Lord. But our sadhana is to attract the mercy of Lord. That's all. And we have to wait for the mercy of Lord to manifest. When it will come, it is up to Lord. But we can keep on trying. So it's like that. And then we saw that by regularly discharging devotional service, Prithu Maharaj became transcendental in mind and could therefore constantly think of the Lord, lotus feet of the Lord. Because of this, he became completely detached and attained perfect knowledge by which he could transcend all doubts. Thus, he was freed from the clutches of false ego and material conception of life. So, we see that second chapter of Bhagavatam, first canto, it is the main principle. So, based on that, whole Bhagavatam is there. So, it sets the what is a formula, and that formula is applicable the whole of Bhagavatam. That we should be very clear. So Bhagavatam is the application part. Theory part is the second chapter. So there it is clearly said, Vidyate hridaya krandis chindate sarva samshaya chiyante chasya karmani trishta evatmanishvare. So first what happened is transcend in mind and could therefore think of lotus seed. So what happened? Vidyate hridaya grandis. So chiyante vidyate hridaya grandis chinnante sarva samshaya. He could transcend all doubts. So samshaya is doubts. And he is free from the clutches of false ego. So this is also chasya karmani. So he's getting free from karma. So our false ego is formed because of our karma only. So a person is getting free from his karma. That means he's becoming free from his false ego. So this we can see that how nicely the it is applicable all the places. The same formula. The second chapter of first canto Srimad Bhagavatam is applicable whole of Bhagavatam. So it's not a problem. It's not very complicated. It's very simple. We have to only see how it is applicable to different people. So here, in case of Prithu Maharaj, he was completely engaged and is free, completely detached. So this also is there. When you do Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitah Janati Asu Vairagyam. So this shloka is applicable for the first part of this section, first part of this shloka, and then the second part is applying with this formula. So is completely detached. So completely detached, attain perfection. So this is talking about Vasudeva Bhagavati. So this is talking about Vasudeva Bhagavati shloka, right? And then all doubts and thus free from the clutches of false ego. So this is talking about Vidyate Hridayakandis. So this is both are from the second chapter of first canto. So this is very important understanding that the formulas are going proper. We have in mathematics, you apply the formula, you get the result, and we can see the result is coming here. And then when he becomes completely free from the conception of body, Maharaj Puttu realized Krishna sitting in the heart. So Chiyante Chasa Drishta Evatmanishwari. So what happened? Prithu Maharaj realized Lord Krishna sitting in heart. So he is able to realize Dishta Evatmanishwari sitting in his heart as a Paramatma. Being thus able to get all the instructions from him, he gave up all other practices of yoga and jnana. He was not even interested in the perfection of yoga and jnana system, for he thoroughly realized that devotional service to Krishna is the ultimate goal of life, and that unless the yogis and jnanis become attached to Krishna Katha, so it is Shrama Eva Hi Kevalam. Their illusion concerning existence can never be dispelled. So this is also we say that if Dharmaswanishtita Pumsam Vishwaksena Katasa Na Utpade Detritim Shrama Eva Kevalam. So it is all Shrama only. If they are not hearing about Dharmaswanishtita Vishwaksena Kata. So if they are not getting attracted to Krishna Katha or Vishaksena Katha, what is there? It is Shramayeva Kevalam. So we can see it is very nicely applicable, that formula. So as long as one is too much absorbed in the bodily conception of life, he become interested in many different processes of self-realization. So this many different processes because of too much absorption in bodily conception of life. So such as the mystic yoga system, or even that is also absorption in body only. And especially this is like the absorption here is with the ego. So that we should know. Bhakti, we cut the ego first. So that's why it becomes easy to practice bhakti compared to other processes. Jnana, yoga, karma, where the ego is very strong. That means the bodily conception is very strong. But when it comes to bhakti, this is we start only with this. That's why. So, however, when understand that ultimate goal of life is to approach Krishna, he realizes Krishna within one's heart and therefore helps everyone who is interested. So, Prabhupada says actually the perfection of life depends on one's inclination to hear about Krishna. That's all. How much we are ready to hear about Krishna, that is our perfection. There is no other perfection. It is therefore mentioned to hear what is the main criteria is less ego. Then only we can hear because it's glorifying others. I cannot stand a glorification of other person means what is hurting me. Ego is hurting me. That's why I cannot stand. If somebody comes and glorifies my enemy, I cannot stand because it is hurting my ego. Especially not even enemy. If somebody is glorifying our equals, Arey Prabhu, your class is such a dumb. There are this person, he gives such a nice class, he gives nice class. So I can hear one time, two times. Somebody is so much glorifying, then I'll start feeling bad because my ego is hurting. No, Krishna is glorified every day. Every day we have to hear his glories and constantly. Ego is hurting. Array, okay, let him be hero, but let me also be hero sometime. There the problem starts. So the actual perfection of life is one's inclination to hear about Krishna. So that means ego is reducing. Whereas other processes, karma, jnana, and yoga, you need not hear so much glories of Lord. You can keep your ego intact. that is why that's why they become interested in different processes other than this one. So it is therefore mentioned in this verse, yeah, Yava Gada Krija Katasu Ratim na Kuryat. Unless one becomes interested in Krishna, his pastimes and activities, there is no question of liberation. So you are interested, then no liberation by means. So having attained the stage of devotion, Maharaj Prithu became uninterested in practice of jnana and yoga. So basically, this is the point. Anya bilashita shunyam jnana karmadhanavritam. And real jnana means understanding that the living entity is eternal servant of Krishna. This knowledge is attained after many, many births and bahunam janmanamante jnanam. So we have discussed till here. And now the 13th shloka. It is said that Prithu Maharaj, in due course of time, when Prithu Maharaj was to give up his body, he fixed his mind firmly on the lotus feet of Krishna and completely situated on Brahmabhuta platform, he gave up his material body. So Prabhupada writes, what you have done is tested at the time of death. Bengali Prabhu, whatever spiritual progress one make in life will be tested. So whole life is an examination and death is the result card. What result we got is told at the time of death. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam. So, Krishna Tvadiya Padapankaja Panjarantam Advaitame Vishtumana Saraja Hamsa Prana Prayana Same Kapavata Pitto Kantavarodana Vido Smaranam Kutaste. So, Kulshekhar Alva is saying that, oh, let me die immediately while I was in good health and while his mind was sound. When a man dies, he is generally overpowered by mucus and bile, and thus he chokes. So he's saying it is difficult to remember that time. Better I will remember now. So we discussed this also. Ramanujacharya was he asked to Varadaraj, what about me? I will not be able to remember you at the time of death because I am in a very bad state. Lord says, no worry, I will remember you. You just meditate. You work on meditating on me whole life. Even at the time of death, you are not able to remember me. I will remember you. So if Lord remembers us, we will definitely remember him. So when Maharaj Prithu practiced a particular yoga sitting posture, he blocked the door of his anus and his ankle, pressed his right and left calves, and gradually raised his life hair upwards, passing it onto the circle of his navel, up to his heart and throat, and finally pushed it upwards to the central portion between his two eyebrows. So now here he has perfected, even though he is meditating on the Lord, this is not needed, but he is just doing some entertainment because there are some yogis maybe there. So he is trying to do what they are doing. Otherwise, also for him it's not a problem. He just meditate on the Lord and he believes his body. That is what is counted because your bhava is Lord. So definitely you will attain Lord only. So for him there is no other way, there is no other place he will go. Like Bhishma Dev, he was not doing all these things, pressing his ankle. He was just lying on a bed of arrows. Where is the question of blocking the door of his anus with his ankle, pressing his right and left calves and gradually raising? He's just lying. So how did he do? He just meditated on the Lord. Of course, Lord is directly standing in front of him. He was taking his darshan and meditating on him, and he left his body. So Puthu Maharaj could have done it, but he's because he practiced it, he's trying to make some small experiment maybe before going. We don't know. Just speculating. So that is sitting posture described here is called Muktasana. In the yoga process, after following the strict regulative principles controlling sleeping, eating, and mating, one is allowed to practice the different sitting postures. The ultimate aim of yoga is to enable one to give up the body according to his own free will. One who has attained the ultimate summit of yoga practice can live in the body as long as he lives or as long as he is not completely perfect. Leave the body to go away within or outside the universe. Some yogis leave their bodies to go to the higher planetary systems and enjoy material facilities therein. However, intelligent yogis do not wish to waste their time within this material world. They do not care for the material facilities in higher planetary systems because they are already experiencing something high. That's why it is possible because heavenly planet is not so less. They are much more greater, wonderful enjoyments. But we have to experience something higher to give it up. So if somebody is giving me, some sugar to eat, so I will enjoy. Wow, sugar, nice. It is sweet. But if I am getting some, rasgulla, rasmalai, or some other nice sweet, then I know, okay, if I give it up, if I give it this up, I am going to get. So it is easy for me. Otherwise, it is difficult. So we need to have faith and some higher taste also. So here also it's same. So they don't say why to waste time with all these lower pleasures, but interested directly go into spiritual scale. From the description of this verse, it appears that Maharaj Prithu had no desire to promote him to the higher planet systems. He's conscious and he wanted to go back to Godhead. Now, Prabhupada writing, the aim of this particular system of asana, known as the sitting posture for liberation or muktasana, is that attain success in Kundalini chakra and gradually rise the life from the Mooladhara chakra, Swadhisthana chakra, then to Manipura chakra, then Arharta chakra, Vishuddha chakra, and Agnya chakra. When the yogi reached Agnya chakra between the two eyebrows, he is able to penetrate the Brahmarandra, or the hole in the skull, and go to any planet he desires, up to the spiritual kingdom of Vaikuntha. And so the conclusion, so this is important for us because we cannot do all the yoga things. So the conclusion is that one has to come to the Brahma Bhuta stage for going back to Godhead. Those who are in Krishna conscious or who are practicing Bhakti Yoga, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, can return to Godhead without even practicing Muktasana. This is the point. The purpose of Muktasana practice is to come to the Brahma Bhuta stage. For without being on the Brahma Bhuta stage, one cannot be promoted to the spiritual. Mamcho Vicharena Bhakti Yogin Sagunan Samatiteta. So Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. You need to be situated in Brahma. If a devotee is able to continue on a Brahma Bhuta platform, he enters the spiritual sky automatically after death and return to Godhead. Consequently, a devotee need not feel sorry for not having practiced the Kundalini chakra. So devotees need not feel bad. Oh, I am not doing any of these chakras. These chakras are not needed for us. Only thing we can do some yoga and pranayama for good health. That's all. Not for meditation. Of course, it helps in meditation because it is said that for practicing Gayatri, you can do little pranayama and then chant Gayatri. And it can be applicable to chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra also. Some devotees they do little pranayama for 5 minutes and then they start chanting because it helps them to meditate, focus on the holy name. So that is just to take help of it to, but ultimately practice bhakti only. As far as Maharaj Prithu was concerned, he has already practiced this process, and since he did not want to wait for the time when his death would occur naturally, so yeah, this is the main reason. So, what is the reason for him to do all these things? Is he don't want to wait. He said anyway it will come, but he is so eager to go to spiritual world. So because he is eager, very eager to go to spiritual world. So he utilized, since he did not want to wait for the time when his death naturally comes, he took advantage of this process and thus gave up his body according to his own free will and immediately entered spiritual sky. Otherwise, he might have had to wait because he is having a good health, so he may continue. So he thought, why to waste time? I already know this process how to go. I will leave it. So that is the advantage. So if somebody is so eager to go to back home, back to God, they can also, if they know this technique, they can also do it. In this way, Prithvi Maharaj gradually raised his air of life up to the hole in his skull, whereupon he lost all the desire for material existence. Gradually, he merged his air of life with the totality of air, his body with the totality of air, his fire with this within his body and the totality of fire. We'll see what Prabhupada says. I was not clear whether it is symbolic or it is really he's doing. So I am not clear. So we'll see what Prabhupada says about it. When the spiritual spark, which is described as 1/10,000th part of the tip of hair, is forced into metal existence, the spark is covered by gross and subtle material elements. This is clear for us. Now, the material body is composed of five elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether, subtle body, mind, endless ego. Now, when one attains liberation, he is free from these coverings. Successful, indeed, success yogi involved getting free from these material causes enter into spiritual state. Lord Buddha's teaching of nirvana also based on this principle. Lord Buddha instructed his followers to give up these material coverage by means of meditation and yoga. So he is also telling, give up this covering. Lord Buddha did not give any information of the soul, but if one follows his instructions strictly, he will ultimately become free from material coverings. So when a living entity gives up the material covering, he remains a spirit soul. And unfortunately, unless the living entity has information of spiritual and Vaikuntha, there is a 99.9% chance of his falling down again into material existence. So there is, however, a small chance of being promoted to spiritual planet. And there is none of the spiritual bliss which is enjoyed in Vaikuntha. In the absence of variety, the spiritual gradually attracted to material things. So Prabhupada did not give what is this system of merging one into another. We'll see what he says in the next shloka. He says, in this way, according to the different process of various parts of the body, positions, Maharaj Prithu merged the wholes of his senses with the sky, his bodily liquids such as blood and various secretions with the totality of water. He merged earth with water and water with fire and fixed, mixed fire with air and air with sky and so on. So in this verse, two words are very important. Yata sthanam vibhagasaha. So Lord Brahma clearly explained to Narada how the creation took place. He expanded one step after another the proper division of senses. So it is important to know thoroughly the process of creation as it applies to this cosmic manifestation. Similarly, this body is also created according to the same process by the Supreme Lord. So this is very important. So we have to know that it is belongs to something, to this matter. So he is able to detach himself from this. So in that way, it is merging. So he says that similarly, the living entity after entering the womb of mother also collects all these ingredients, totality of sky, this. So then he is getting detached from it. It will not happen to us. We need not do all these things. We'll just meditate on Krishna and whatever Krishna wants, he will do. So it is easy for devotees in that way. So indriyeshu manasthani तन्मात्रेषु यतोद्भवम् भूतादीनां कृष्य मह्यत् atmani sandhade. He amalgamated the mind with the senses and the senses with the sense objects according to their respective position. He also amalgamated material ego with the total material energy, Mahatattva. Maybe he is realizing one element after another. He is realizing, he is seeing the element after another. So, in respect to the ego, the total material energy is surrounded in two parts. Wow, this is nice point. One agitated by mode of ignorance and agitated by mode of passion and goodness. So here the total material energy is uh, sundered in two parts. So one is agitated in ignorance and other is mode of ignorance and passion. Due to agitation of mode of ignorance, five elements are created, and due to agitation of passion ignorance, passion mind is created, and the mind, due to agitation of mode of passion mind is created, and due to agitation of goodness, false egoism or identification with matter is created. So this is what Prabhupada is telling. So elements, mind and false ego. So mind is protected by a particular type of demigod. Sometimes mind, manas, is understood to have a controlling deity or demigod. In this way, the total mind, namely the material mind, controlled by material demigods, was amalgamated with the senses. The sense in turns are amalgamated sense objects. Sense objects in the form of taste, smell, sound, etc. The sound is the ultimate source of the sense objects. So mind was attracted to by the senses and the senses by sense objects, and all of them are ultimately amalgamated. So not a problem. We don't understand so much of amalgamation. But what we understand is how the creation happened. So the anavritti shabda. See, very important here. Sound, why it is mentioned? Because sound is the cause of creation, and the sound is the cause of liberation also. That is the important thing. So when we are meditating, we are creating. So because why it is sound, it is all wave function. Even quantum physics, which is very the philosophy of quantum physics and the philosophy of Brahman, impersonal Brahman understanding is same only. Only thing in quantum physics they use very technical, very jargon words, and which Shankaracharya explained in a very simple word. It's same philosophy only. And they here because if you go for impersonal, it's a energy. Impersonal energy is the cause of creation, impersonal Brahman. And for quantum physics also it's same thing. It's all wave function only. And they also, if you see some quantum physics big professor, one very famous person is there. He saw, actually he got Brahman Sakshatkar also. Is very, he don't understand what it is, but we understand it because we read scriptures. So here, the point is that since the ultimate cause of material world is Mahat Tattva, everything was gradually wound up and amalgamated with Mahat Tattva. This may be compared to Shunyavada or voidism. So this is what is. So this is compared to voidism because it is already going into Mahat Tattva. So it is very similar to because this is a realization they have, but this is a process for the cleaning of a real spiritual mind or consciousness. And proper, right, when the mind is completely washed of all contamination, the pure consciousness act, the sound vibration from spiritual side can automatically cleanse all material contamination as confirmed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So here two points are there. See, one way of cleaning is you do all the processes and you are cleaning it. So the uh, purpose of Ashtanga yoga is to what? Is to clean. Clean what? Clean the wash all the material contamination and to come to the pure state. So this is the purpose. And but that can be achieved how? That can be achieved by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling you Golokera Premadana Harinam Sankirtan. If you chant the Harinam which is coming from Golok, you get the same benefit. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. So this is actually we have to do. Purposely, we need to take the advice. So the purpose can be achieved by bhakti also. This can be achieved by chanting. So the point is both want to clean the consciousness. In yoga also they are cleaning consciousness, bhakti also cleaning consciousness. But yoga is a very tough process. In bhakti, why it is easy? Because we depend on Lord. That's why it becomes easy. No, even though the process is same, it is tough in yoga because you are doing on your own. In bhakti, we give up our ego, surrender to Lord. He says, "My dear Lord, I cannot do myself. You help me." So here, this process is tough because we depend on ourselves. But here it is easy because we are depending on Lord, giving up ego, depend on Lord. So this is the main difference. And we need only to take the advice of Lord Chaitanya. That means we are giving up our ego. He says, okay, whatever Lord Chaitanya says, I am ready to accept. So that is such a easy way, And what happens and cleans the mind of all material contamination. This may be considered the summary of this difficult verse. So Prabhupada is making nice. He says this may be considered the summary of this difficult verse. What is that? Chant Hare Krishna. If you don't understand anything, just chant Hare Krishna. Just follow the advice of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He will do the rest of the things. Don't be very much bogged about all these complications. As soon as the whole material contamination was away by this process of chanting, all desires and reactions to material activities becomes immediately vanquished and real life, peaceful existence begins. In this age of Kali, it is very difficult to adopt the yogic process mentioned in this verse. Unless one is very expert in such yoga, the best course is to adopt the ways and means of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Thus, one can gloriously become free from all material contamination by simple process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, Prabhupada is very happy listening. Just as life in the material world has its beginning in material sound, similarly, the spiritual life has its beginning in the spiritual sound. So, I said, no, it is from sound only. Anavriti Shabdat. Starts with sound, ends with sound. So, better we hear the proper sound. So, it will all end for us. Tam sarvaguna vinyasam jiva mayamayenyadat तं चानुष्यम् आत्मस्थम् आस्व अन्यूष्य पुमान् वीर्येण स्वरूपस्थो जता प्रभु. Prithu Maharaj then offered the total designations of the living entity under the supreme controller of illusory energy, being released from all the designations by which the living entity becomes entrapped. He becomes free by knowledge and renunciation, and by the spiritual force of his devotional service. In this way, being situated in his original constitutional position of Krishna consciousness, he gave up his body as a Prabhu or controller of the senses. So here, then he achieved whatever he wanted to achieve. All the you know he gave up. So what all things to be done to go back to Godhead? Total designations of living entity unto the supreme controller. So give up, offered the designations, released from all the designations by which the living entity entrapped. I am so and so, I am so and so, I am so and so. By the end of life, slowly, we should not identify ourselves with these things. We should identify I am servant of Krishna, I am servant of Krishna. So that identity should become. So he became free by knowledge and renunciation. So renunciation is the eagerness. I want Krishna at any cost. That is actually renunciation. By the spiritual force, of his devotional service. In this way, being situated in original constitutional position of Krishna consciousness, he gave up his body and so Lord is there in the everyone's head. When Pruth Maharaj becomes spiritually powerful by enhancement of his spiritual knowledge and renunciation of material desires, he became master of his senses. This means that he was no longer controlled by the influence of material energy. So this understanding is called Swarupoblabdhi. Swarupopalabdhi. So by cultivating devotional service, devotee gradually comes to the understanding that his actual relationship with the Supreme Lord. So Prithu Maharaj is and Prabhupada is writing the spiritual master is called Prabhupada. अचिरैर्नामं हाराग्नि तत्पत्न्या अनुगतावनं सुकुमार्य तत् अर्हच्च यत्पद्भ्यां स्पृशन् भव. The queen, the wife of Prithu Maharaj, whose name was Archi, followed her husband to the forest. Since she was a queen, her body was very delicate. Although she did not deserve to live in the forest, she voluntarily touched her lotus feet to the ground. So, because Prithu Maharaj's wife was a queen and also daughter of a king, she never experienced walking on the ground, for queens used to never come out of the palace. They certainly never went to the forest and tolerate all the difficulties of living in the wilderness. In the Vedic civilization, there are hundreds of similar examples of such renunciation as a part of queens and dedication to the husband. The goddesses of fortune, Mother Sita, followed her husband, Ramchandra, when he went to the forest. So here uh, the chastity is explained. Okay, thank you all very much. We'll end here. ग्रंथ श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. हरे कृष्ण.